Okay, so on this one should be pretty easy. I'm not going to help you on problem number 1. You need to remember what a quadratic parent function equation is. So if you're looking at this one, this is a quadratic parent function because it goes through the origin. What's the equation? Which one of these? Okay? And then move on to the next slide. Remember, you can always pause if I'm going too fast. Let's go to slide number 2. On slide number 2, they're just going to ask you, like, what is the difference between these two things, right? In this one, the +2 is on the outside. And in this one, the +2 is on the inside of the parentheses. So one of them is on the outside of the parentheses. And another one, the other one is on the inside of the parentheses. Okay, and yesterday I taught you that anything that is outside the parentheses, like this one, that's the letter D, right? And that one means that it went up 2. But what does this one mean? That's what we're going to learn today, okay? This is your letter C. And we're going to talk about the letter C in just a little bit. So in here, I want you to just type the difference between these two. One of them is outside the parentheses, the other one's inside the parentheses. And let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. Okay, slide number 3. Hold on. Okay, in this one they gave you the two equations that we were just talking about, and you can graph them. So remember, when the 2 is on the outside of the parentheses, it goes up 2. So that's what this one did. It went up 2, right? So this one goes up 2. And then if you press the other button, this one, what does that one do? So let's press it. Uh-oh, this one moved from here. Let me change the color. It moved this way. What is that called? It went to the left 2 units. A la izquierda, it went to the left. But wait a minute, that's a +2. I don't know. I thought +2, I thought you would move this way, right? But it didn't. So, was your guess correct? Is there anything about this graph that is surprising? Well, I mean, it says +2, so I would have thought that it went this way. But it went the opposite way to -2. So that was a little bit surprising. So if you want to go ahead and write that, go ahead and write it. Okay, slide number 4. Let's see. It says the quadratic graph is represented as this. So if this is my C and I move it, what's happening as the numbers get bigger? Right? If I move to, if my numbers go to the positive side, my graph goes to the negative side. And if my C is a negative, my graph goes to the right. So it's doing the opposite. If my numbers get bigger, my graph moves to the smaller side. And if my numbers get smaller, my graph starts moving more and more to the right. Okay? So it moves the opposite way. So go ahead and write in here what you noticed about that number line. And remember, when I'm moving this, this is my letter C. +1, it moves to the -1 side. +2, it moved to the -2 side. -3, it moved to +3. -5, it moved to +5. Okay? So write that down. Okay, so right here, this is the original, and I moved this way to the left. How many? 1, 2, 3. This is at -3, right? So if my graph is at -3, and I move to the left, then that's why it's a +3 on the inside, right? Because it's supposed to be the opposite. So it's +3 on the inside, but it shifted to the left 3 units, okay? So make sure you're writing all of this down. Make sure that you're writing down this equation. And make sure that you're writing that it went to the left 3 units, okay? Slide number 6. What do you think is going to happen here? Look at the inside. It says -2. Which way do you think it's going to go? Okay, now remember it's inside the parentheses, so it means that it moves to the left or to the right, not up or down. So this means if it's in the parentheses, it moves left and right. So right or left, not up or down. Okay, and because it's a -2, it's going to the right 2. It's the opposite. Whatever that sign is going to do the opposite. Okay, slide number 7. Here we go. All you have to do is put the colors right here. So graph number 1, g of x equals f. So inside the parentheses is a -4. That means I moved to the right 4. Okay, so make sure that you write this equation down in your paper. Write down that it means that you move to the right 4. And then let's go look for it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be my blue line. So for number 1, I would put blue. Okay, let me do another example for you. Problem number 3 says +1. So the opposite of plus, right, is to the left 1. So if I move to the left 1 from here, that would be right there. That's my orange line. So for number 3, I would put orange. Okay, do number 2 and number 4 by yourself. Press pause and go do slide number 8 when you're done. Okay, right here. This is on the outside of the parentheses, not inside the parentheses. So this is what we learned yesterday. What happens when it's outside the parentheses and it's a -3? Let's take a look at our notes. Let's write down some notes really quickly. So I have, write this down, f of x equals, okay? I'm going to have something in parentheses and something outside the parentheses. So inside my parentheses, I'm going to have x. I'm going to change colors, plus or minus c, okay, squared because it's a quadratic. And then on the outside, I'm also going to have a plus, let me change color, a plus or a minus d. Okay, so outside the parentheses is d, that's this one. And what did we say? So the c, this one goes, if it's positive, it goes to the left. And if it's negative, if it's minus, it goes to the right. Whatever that number is. Okay? So write it down. And then the D, if it's positive, it goes up. And if it's minus, it goes down. So this one was a minus, and it's outside the parentheses. So that means it went down 3. Okay, so make sure that you write this down. This is very important notes. You need it for the assess. You need it for your test. Pause the video, write it down. And then the last one. Okay, so I have some graphs, I have some equations. Let's see. I'm going to move everything away. So I have 4 graphs. Here's my other graph. Okay, so this one moved up 2. So I'm going to look for the one that moves up 2, and I'm going to put it with that one. Then I'm going to put the equation that matches it. This one right here matches it. Why? Because it has a +2 on the outside. It means it goes up 2 units. And it went up 2 units. Okay? So you need to match the rest of them. Put the equations where they go and the shifts where they go. And then go do the assess.